The story begins with Archie and Edith preparing in a modest motel room for the funeral of cousin Liz. Their interactions reveal typical patterns of their relationship. Archie complains about the atmosphere, the desk clerk's comments, and the adult film option advertised through the room phone system, while Edith tries to stay focused on dressing properly and managing her nerves. Archie examines the view and grumbles about seeing a few small cars in the parking lot, dismissing the room's price compared to the scenery. When Edith worries about whether the funeral will be an open casket ceremony, Archie reacts bluntly, reminding her that the deceased cannot look back. Their discussion touches on mortality regrets and the inability to tell people how wonderful they are before they die, but Archie brushes off sentiment. As they arrive at Veronica's apartment, where mourners gather, Edith mourns sincerely, while Archie immediately scans the surroundings for potential valuables, especially noticing a silver tea set. Veronica, composed but grieving, thanks guests for attending and apologizes if she does not speak much. Archie is impressed by some furniture and electronics, hinting that certain items could add to inheritance value. Edith focuses instead on the sentimental value of the tea set, explaining its long history in their family. She recalls how it was passed through several generations and represents heritage rather than monetary worth. Archie, however, whispers that antiques can sell for high prices. Soon, Veronica asks Edith to speak privately. In a quiet room, Veronica confesses that she and cousin Liz live together, not only as roommates, but as partners in a committed romantic relationship for 25 years. Edith at first misinterprets the emotional tone, assuming the two simply shared a close friendship, but gradually realizes Veronica refers to a deeper same-sex bond. Veronica worries about revealing this, afraid of judgment and of losing her job. When Edith understands, she reacts sympathetically and acknowledges it must have been very difficult to hide love for decades. She reassures Veronica that she deserves the tea set more than anyone because she shared her life with Liz longer and more intimately than blood relatives. Archie overhears fragments of the conversation and reacts with disbelief and discomfort. He tries to locate logic that will restore his worldview and argues the tea set legally belongs to Edith. When Veronica insists she cannot go to court because her livelihood is at risk, Archie realizes that pushing the matter would damage someone's career. He considers pressuring her, but ultimately decides not to. Edith, meanwhile, chooses to give Veronica the tea set. On the way out, Archie secretly slips a set of sugar tongs into his pocket, an act reflecting his difficulty letting go of control and value. A different story arc follows, involving a wedding between two elderly residents of the Sunshine home. Edith, always compassionate, offered their home as a venue. Archie resents this because he planned a fishing trip early the same morning. Edith refuses to cancel, arguing she promised to host, serve as matron of honor, designate Archie as best man, and even sing during the ceremony. Their argument expands into past grievances, including naming their daughter and choosing where to live. Archie eventually convinces Barney, their fishing companion, to delay departure using subtle blackmail about a past hotel scandal. Blanche, Barney's wife, overhears and reinforces the pressure. The wedding takes place in the bunker home with awkward charm. Edith dresses the bride, repeating the saying, "Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue," and tries to find items to match. Archie corrals the nervous groom, who hides in the closet admitting fear as an 84-year-old bachelor. Archie counsels him by joking about marriage, emphasizing companionship, and poking fun at perceptions of masculinity. Edith sings too slowly, prompting Archie to switch to a more upbeat bridal march. The ceremony concludes successfully, and soon after, the newlyweds surprisingly join the fishing trip. Another major thread begins with Archie's ambition to open a new bar, Archie's Place. Believing he can improve his fortunes beyond factory work, he calls his boss to claim sickness despite Edith's fear he will lose his job. He arrives early at the bar and barks orders at Harry the bartender, complaining about a spring in a stool and insisting on blue toilet water. Harry reminds Archie he used to be a pleasant customer, but now behaves like a demanding boss. Feeling mistreated, Harry quits and leaves to work at McFeeney's Topless Bar down the street. Carlos, who assists at the bar, leaves as well. Archie panics because it is opening night. Edith, Gloria, and her husband Mike step up to help. Edith serves as hostess, Gloria waits tables, and Mike tends bar despite lacking experience. Customers arrive, including an anniversary couple, and the church organist plays piano, told by Archie not to play depressing music. Gloria fends off unwanted advances by inventing a dramatic story about an abusive husband and missing teeth. The comedic chaos builds as Archie improvises drink recipes without proper ingredients. Suddenly, Mr. Sanders, Archie's factory boss, appears. He confronts Archie about calling in sick and warns that running a bar requires financial expertise and will be difficult. Archie impulsively quits his factory job rather than apologize. Sanders warns him not to come back if the venture fails and leaves. Archie maintains bravado, insisting business will grow, even claiming he could open 2 bars someday. Over time, Archie's bar attendance fluctuates. A bill collector visits demanding nearly $3,000 in unpaid refrigeration fees, warning that equipment will be removed by Wednesday. Archie panics and invents excuses, including fake daughters with exaggerated ailments. The collector remains firm. As Archie's panic builds, Harry returns to mock him, bragging about topless crowds. Archie insists topless bars are immoral, claiming customers quickly tire of nudity. Stress increases, and someone casually offers Archie stimulant pills. They claim many workers use them to stay energetic. Archie denies dependency at first, then keeps them in his pocket just in case. He begins using them in moments of frustration, claiming they give energy. Soon his behavior becomes erratic. He stays awake late, painting the porch at 3 in the morning, waking neighbors and singing loudly. Edith pleads for rest, but Archie continues, insisting he finally has time to complete a long-promised task. Neighbors complain, but Archie dismisses them. Morning arrives, and Edith tries to feed him breakfast, but he refuses, claiming people eat too much. Gloria and Mike worry privately that the pills are affecting his behavior. At the bar, his hands shake slightly, his pacing quickens, and conversation becomes scattered. The jukebox music overwhelms him, and he grows irritated at minor inconveniences. Customers avoid confrontation and gradually drift out. Archie begins searching newspapers for business strategies and insists he needs an efficiency expert to organize the bar. He rehearses imaginary conversations about expansion, still dreaming about opening a second location. Meanwhile, his bar remains nearly empty. He becomes increasingly aggressive toward Barney, who continues using the restroom without buying drinks. Archie throws eggs at him again, symbolic of his inability to manage failure productively. As Wednesday approaches, Archie feels trapped. The thought of losing refrigeration equipment terrifies him. Without it, food and beer cannot be stored properly. When the collector returns, Archie's excuses escalate. He tries sympathy, humor, guilt, and threats. Nothing works. The collector presents deadlines unemotionally, leaving Archie to stew in dread. One night, Archie begs Edith to dance with him in the living room. She refuses gently. He begins to tease her, loudly misreading her exhaustion as reluctance to have fun. He performs dramatic gestures, shouting at neighbors and urging applause. When Edith finally leads him upstairs, he collapses into his chair, drained from lack of sleep. This moment ends a cycle of manic behavior, leaving Archie vulnerable. Exhaustion settles. Silence becomes heavy. The story leans toward an impending confrontation between pride and reality. Edith's compassion remains constant. Even when dealing with Archie's flaws, she circles back to support and encouragement. As Archie returns to the bar once more, the emptiness becomes more noticeable. The stools remain vacant, the air feels still, and the jukebox sits silent as though waiting for better days. Archie wipes the same glass repeatedly, a gesture more symbolic than functional. He keeps pacing, glancing at the door, hoping customers might walk through it by chance. His face reflects forced optimism, but beneath the surface is growing worry. The stimulant pills push him into restless activity, but cannot create business. Barney soon arrives again, casually asking to use the restroom. Archie protests at length, arguing that frequent restroom visits without purchasing anything is unfair. The conversation escalates into comedic bickering, and Archie, still frustrated, throws an egg at Barney. The shell cracks, creating a mess that symbolizes the crumbling of Archie's composure. Barney reminds him gently that he was once friendly, yet now seems irritable and unfocused. Archie deflects responsibility, blaming the neighborhood competition and trends. Later, Harry returns from the topless bar to collect a bartender guidebook. He boasts about large crowds, high profits, and energetic staff. Archie dismisses topless entertainment as vulgar, repeating that after seeing 2 breasts, one has seen them all. Despite the insult, jealousy is clear behind his insults. Harry warns him that neighborhood bars are dying due to shifting tastes and economics. Archie insists morality will win in the long run, but the room answers quietly. As Archie grows increasingly obsessed with business trends, he reads articles about modern management. He quotes buzzwords out of context, insisting efficiency experts could optimize the bar. Mike and Gloria exchange worried glances, recognizing that Archie lacks sleep but refuses to acknowledge exhaustion. He races back and forth behind the bar, rearranging bottles and napkins, repeatedly believing constant motion equals control. Meanwhile, Edith watches out of concern. She urges Archie to rest, afraid his health may deteriorate. He rejects her worries, insisting that ambition requires sacrifice. At dinner, Archie refuses to eat again, claiming too much food makes people sluggish. Edith gently leaves food in the oven just in case he changes his mind. The pills continue pushing him toward sleeplessness. At night, Archie bolts upright from his chair, grabs a paintbrush and bucket, and storms outside. He begins painting the porch again at 3 in the morning, splashing paint across boards unevenly. Several neighbors open windows, angrily complaining about the noise. He interprets their frustration as encouragement, praising their enthusiasm. He sings loudly, attempting to bring Edith outside to dance. She tries repeatedly to convince him to stop, but he insists productivity must continue. Morning reveals an exhausted Archie slumped over the bar counter. He claims he has everything under control, yet his face is pale, marked by dark circles. Gloria and Mike watch him carefully, whispering that stimulant dependency may be present. Archie insists he could stop any time, yet his jittery movements suggest otherwise. That afternoon becomes particularly stressful. A brief wave of customers arrives, bringing momentary celebration. Archie rushes behind the bar, pouring drinks with exaggerated enthusiasm, telling jokes and offering discounts. The bar fills with laughter once more, and Archie's hope reignites. For several minutes, it feels like the bar might succeed. But as quickly as the customers arrive, they leave again for nearby entertainment. Archie stands alone, his excitement draining instantly. Hours later, the bill collector returns, informing Archie that refrigeration equipment will be removed soon if payment is not received. Archie pleads frantically, describing exaggerated family illnesses. The collector remains firm. He walks away, leaving Archie staring at the floor. Without refrigeration, the bar cannot function. Panic grows silently behind Archie's stern mask. Increasingly desperate, Archie rehearses speeches to imaginary crowds pacing behind the bar with forced confidence. He imagines giving orders to employees he does not have and serving customers who are not present. The empty room hears every word. His voice echoes back, exposing his loneliness. The stimulant pills continue pulling him toward manic energy. He begins calling friends at odd hours, asking for business advice, unaware of how irrational he sounds. Edith gently suggests medical checkups, but Archie dismisses her, claiming the body must obey the mind. The cycle repeats: restless nights, exhausted mornings, declining business denial. Barney visits again, prompting another argument. Archie makes jokes about his restroom habits, but the frustration behind the humor is clear. Eventually, Barney leaves, shaking his head, worried about his friend's mental state. Archie sighs heavily. For a moment, he stares at an empty glass, contemplating his reflection. At home, Edith prepares dinner quietly. Archie enters, exhausted, eyes drooping. Edith offers a gentle smile, reassuring him that trying counts even if results are uncertain. Archie wants to respond, but his voice falters. Instead, he sits silently, leaning back, allowing himself to breathe. Time passes quietly. Days blend. The bar continues struggling, and stimulant doses become irregular. Archie's hands shake more noticeably, and he has trouble focusing on simple tasks. He blames minor issues, lighting candy machines, jukebox songs, refusing to see the larger pattern. Gloria urges him to consider stepping back or adjusting his business strategy, but Archie insists that quitting would be failing as a man. One night, he attempts to dance with Edith, again turning on music loudly. Neighbors shout for silence. Archie insists he just needs one night of celebration. Edith eventually pulls him inside, whispering that rest is more important than appearances. Later that week, the bar sits dimly lit chairs, stacked tables cleaned. Archie stands behind the bar, barely moving. He whispers softly to himself, repeating the phrase, "One bar could be two," though even he no longer seems convinced. He admits quietly that customers do not return as often as he hoped. He wonders aloud if he misjudged the neighborhood or misunderstood trends. The jukebox falls silent again. As he leans on the bar, Mike and Gloria arrive to check on him. They suggest gently that running a business requires rest, balance, and support. Archie tries to defend his decisions, but each argument collapses halfway. He finally confesses he is tired, though he will not admit exhaustion. They sit with him to keep him company, offering quiet comfort. He nods slowly, appreciating their presence without expressing gratitude. The following day, Edith returns to the bar alone while Archie sleeps upstairs in a small office. She looks around at the worn furniture, empty tables, and lonely glassware. She closes her eyes, imagining what Archie saw when he first dreamed of owning a bar, a place full of laughter, friendship, and pride. She quietly wipes counters, resets chairs, and leaves a note encouraging him not to give up. When Archie finally awakens, he finds the note and smiles faintly. He steps downstairs, looks around, and admits softly that maybe he needs to slow down. He considers limiting his hours, focusing on customer relationships, and offering simple promotions rather than chasing grand expansion. He takes a deep breath, marking the first sign of genuine reflection. However, reality remains challenging. The collector's deadline still approaches, and business remains inconsistent. Archie begins accepting that he might need help, though he struggles to ask. Meanwhile, Edith continues to serve as emotional support, reminding him quietly that failure does not erase effort. The cycle of stress continues, but Archie's outbursts become less severe. He laughs awkwardly about past egg-throwing incidents, realizing how irrational they sounded. His hands tremble less as he reduces pill usage. He even considers seeing a doctor, though he delays scheduling an appointment. Night falls over the neighborhood. The bar glows faintly. Archie stands behind the counter, turning off lights and locking doors. He whispers once more that maybe dreams need time to grow. He tucks the note from Edith into his jacket pocket and leaves the bar. This transitional moment marks a soft shift from denial toward awareness. The struggle continues, but Archie no longer charges blindly forward. Instead, he walks home quietly, step by step, with Edith's words echoing gently behind him.